I am Elias, 28 years old. I am currently on the fourth basement level, B4, of the St. Jude parking complex. This place does not resemble the parking garages you know. The lighting isn't burnt out, it is dim, as if it is absorbing light rather than shedding it. The smell of old oil and stagnant water mimics the scent of something that was once alive, and then simply stopped. I walked toward my car. My footsteps bounced off the concrete walls, but the echo was always a fraction of a second late. At first, I thought it was an illusion. The second time, I stopped. The echo did not stop immediately. I heard one extra step, soft, slithering, like skin crawling over cold cement. Down here, in the depths, the air is heavy. You feel as though the concrete above is pressing against your lungs. I looked back. The massive pillars were numbered with faded paint. The number, 14, seemed to shift. It wasn't the pillar moving, but the shadow clinging to it. It was a very long shadow, longer than the angle of the single ceiling bulb should allow.
Why haven't I heard another car since I entered? There is no guard in the glass booth at the entrance, only a monitor displaying a flickering image of a place that looks like this, but isn't. I reached into my pocket for my keys. I felt a sudden chill in my fingertips. The keys were damp, wet with a strange, viscous residue. I raised the key fob to unlock the doors. The flash of the car's lights revealed something behind the rear glass. It wasn't a face. It was a cluster of fabric-like gray tissue, tattered and hanging in the void. It didn't blink because I couldn't find an eye to watch. There was only a black hole in the center, expanding and contracting with my breath, not its own. I began to run. The stairs were no longer where I remembered them, only ramps sloping further down. Every floor I descended, the number of parked cars increased. They were all ancient, all covered in a layer of dust so thick it hadn't been touched in decades. Strangely, the dust on my own car had vanished completely after I reached it, as if someone had wiped it clean with their entire body.
At floor B9, I stopped. There shouldn't be a ninth basement level in this building. I looked at my watch. It read 3 a.m. A moment later, it still read 3 a.m. The hand wasn't moving, yet I could hear a ticking sound coming from inside my own chest. The truth I realized too late, as I felt my neck losing sensation, is that I never drove my car here. I came on foot, and the car I was trying to unlock was never mine. It was the casket they carved my name into before I forgot who I was.
My name is Julian, 43 years old. The setting is the rooftop parking lot of the abandoned Redwood Mall. The lot is on the 6th floor, open to the sky, but the clouds here are always the color of lead. The air carries a metallic taste, not rust, but the taste of blood that dried a long time ago. I was looking for the exit, but the ramp I ascended had vanished. In its place was a high concrete wall surrounding the area on all sides. There is no city outside, only a gray void stretching into eternity. I saw Sarah. She was standing at the far corner. I didn't see her face. Her back was turned to me. Her long hair was moving despite the absence of wind. I called out to her, but the sound didn't leave my throat. It emerged as a thin wisp of black smoke. I began to notice small things. The lamps in the ceiling aren't connected by wires. They are suspended by thin threads of a substance resembling spider silk. When I approached one of the cars, I saw that the tires weren't rubber. They were made of intricately intertwined bones.
I felt a touch on my shoulder. It wasn't a hand. It was a sharpness, cold as a needle. I spun around. No one was there. But on my white shirt, there was a scorched, black handprint. The smell began to change. Sulfur and burnt hair. The entity following me does not use feet. It uses angles. It appears in the corner of my eye, and when I turn, it disappears behind a pillar. It isn't a single body, but a collection of slender limbs that rearrange themselves every time I blink. I saw a fragment of it, a very long hand with 7 fingers, slowly tracing the roof of my car, as if reading Braille on the metal. Why did I come here? I remembered I was running from something. Something in my house. Something that sat on my bed and told me to go to the wide place. Now I am in the wide place. The betrayal came when I reached the edge and looked down. I didn't see the ground. I saw the roof of the same 6th floor repeating beneath me forever. And the car I left behind, its engine started on its own. I looked into the side mirror of the car as it slowly pulled away. Sarah wasn't the one standing in the corner. It was me. It was I who stood there with a hunched back, waiting for the next Julian to arrive and restart the cycle.
I'm Silas. I am 60 years old. I have worked here for a time I can no longer measure. My station is the Dark Plaza, an underground parking lot that was never finished. Rebar sticks out of the pillars like the ribs of a dead beast. My task is simple. Do not look into the mirrors. The space is so vast that my voice dies before it can echo. The lights here emit a constant hum, a vibration that makes your teeth ache. I wander between abandoned cars. Some are from the 1940s. Others look futuristic, strange vehicles without windows. Tonight, I heard the sound of crying. It wasn't a child. It was the crying of a machine, a metallic moan coming from under the hood of a black Cadillac. I approached. The hood was vibrating. I didn't open it. The rules are clear. Do not interfere with what is being digested. I began to feel the space tightening. The distances between the pillars were shrinking. It used to take 10 minutes to walk from one pillar to the next. Now it took only 2 steps. The ceiling began to lower. I felt the cold concrete brush against my hair. I saw the shadow. It wasn't my shadow. It was a silhouette moving independently on the side wall. It was holding something that looked like a hammer. Every time the shadow struck the wall in its world, I felt a sharp pain in my skull. Then I saw the entity. It was emerging from the concrete wall itself. It didn't come out all at once. It sprouted like fungi, pale limbs, featureless faces, emerging and sinking back into the cement. It wasn't attacking me. It was absorbing the environment. The cars it touched melted and became part of the floor. I ran towards the only exit, the elevator. I pressed the button. The button was warm, like human skin. When the door opened, there was no cabin. There was a deep shaft stretching downward, and at the bottom, I saw thousands of tiny glowing eyes looking up at me, waiting for my fall. I looked at my hand. It wasn't a hand anymore. It had begun to turn the gray color of concrete. The texture of my skin grew coarse and calcified. I remember now why I am here. I was never the guard. I am part of the architecture. I am pillar number 33. The stories I told myself about being human were just the fleeting dreams of a block of cement trying to understand why it is trapped in eternal darkness. The man walking past me now, clutching his keys in fear, he is the next me. I will wait until he touches me, so he can take my place in the silence. Would you like me to elaborate on the rules of this world, or perhaps explore the origins of the entity that inhabits these spaces?